Good evening, everyone. The Liberals' new plan to address the cost of living is expected to kick in just days before Christmas and last until right after Valentine's Day, a temporary break from the GST on some items, as well as a $250 check for many Canadians starting next spring, both measures costing the government more than $6 billion. It comes at a time when the party is struggling to gain traction with voters. CTV's Rachel Aiello on what's covered under the exemptions and the reaction.
Hi, everyone.
Lagging in the polls and having a hard time in the House, Justin Trudeau tried to turn the page today, promising Canadians temporary relief at the cash register.
Everyone had to tighten their belts a little bit, and now we're going to be able to give a tax break for all Canadians.
For 2 months, starting mid-December, the federal government is removing the GST and HST where applicable on restaurant meals, consumer goods, and more. Among the items where these taxes won't be charged are grocery store snacks, beer and wine, children's clothing, video games, puzzles, toys, and Christmas trees. The Liberals will also be sending $250 rebate checks to 18.7 million Canadians who have earned $150,000 or less last year.
If you haven't filed a tax return, file your tax return by December 31st. That will make it possible for us to send you that check.
The measures are estimated to cost the government more than $6 billion and will require legislation. To pass the bill, the Liberal minority has secured help from the NDP to break the procedural stalemate in the Commons briefly.
We want to see this relief done as quickly as possible, so we're prepared to pause the privilege motion that's being debated in the House for 1 day.
The Conservatives were quick to characterize the pocketbook pledge as inflationary, but aren't saying if they'll support it.
And today, what we have is a 2-month temporary tax trick.
Cost of living is still a top issue for voters, and pollsters say there could be some political gain here for the Liberals. But because it's time limited, there's also a risk.
I think the pressure will be on them to probably keep this in place, especially if talk of the town here in Ottawa is that we're going to be in an election in the spring.
The consumer tax break is slated to stay in place until mid-February, and the workers' rebate is set to roll out in April, right around the time of the next carbon tax increase. Omar?